today's video, I want to show you 10 rotoscoping effects and transitions, and we are going to be using a plugin in today's video to make all of these effects and transitions possible with the Motion VFX plugin called the mRotoAI. Link is going to be in the description. This video is not sponsored. However, the link is an affiliate link, so it does help out the channel if you do sign up for a 14-day free trial. So here is the Cloneslide Roto effect, and it's very simple. It's just a cloning effect that you guys can create, and you can install the plugin if you go over to the mInstaller app. Just download it from their website. Link is in the description as well, and you just install it under the plugins. It's going to be under the mRotoAI. Just install it, and you should have it under the effects mRotoAI. So what you want to do is I'm going to delete all of these clips, and we're going to have this clip that we want to work with. So I'm going to start the effect here and end it there. Move the playhead to the beginning. We're going to duplicate our clips, hold Option, go over to the effects, go to mRotoAI, and just drag this effect onto the top clip. What we're going to do now is you're going to have a new tool over here, and with the mRotoAI selected, you should have the tools over here. If you click on this little arrow, this will allow you to select the manual brush, so you can also adjust the brush size there. Allows you to paint over it like that. And you also have the eraser tool. So this is the magic eraser. It can erase bigger parts of your image. And if you click this other arrow here, you have the manual eraser to erase things like that. And you also have the adjustment for the brush. Over here is all of your settings. So I'm gonna go over to the automatic selection. And what I wanna do is make sure we have it selected. Select at the beginning because we're gonna be tracking forwards. If you have your clip in the end, just paint over wherever your subject is, and you're gonna be tracking backwards. We're going to do it this way. So I'm going to select the bike and our subject. It doesn't have to be a very perfect selection. And we're going to track forward. So click that button and a new window will appear. And you're going to see in real time what we've selected. And it does a really good job of tracking. So now we're going to change the output to masked video. With our top clip masked out, we're going to duplicate this again. So hold Option and drag upwards. Now with the middle clip here, we're going to go to the beginning, go to transform, add a keyframe. We're going to go to maybe here. Then we're going to drag the X under transform. So drag the X axis out to the right side if you want it to go from the left to right, and click done. So now it's going to look like this, and go to blur and add a directional blur onto this clip. Bring it to 0 right here at the beginning because it's not moving at all. Add a keyframe, press right on the arrow key a few times, so maybe 2 is fine, and then increase the amount quite a bit to, I don't know, 100 or 111, and then you're just going to leave it how it is. So then we're going to duplicate this clip again, so hold Option and drag upwards. Then you're going to right click on that new clip that we just duplicated and go to show video animation, drag the keyframe where it starts, just move this over a little bit so that it creates a offset effect. As you can see, if I go back and push play, it's going to look like that. It's going to come in really quick, so I might want to adjust this a little bit. So with this one, I want it to come in, I want it to last a little longer. So like that, and which means if I go to show video animation, it starts here and it ends here. So I want this one to last kind of where it's at. And now you can see this bottom clip is this one, so we can just extend this out. If we move this closer to the last keyframe, it's going to go in a lot quicker. So just, keep that in mind. So I think this is fine. We're going to do it one more time. So hold Option. And with this one now, we're going to right click and go to show video animation. And again, we're going to extend this one out. So this here is just all about playing around with the keyframing positions. And now if I go back and I push play, it's going to create this super cool cloning rotoscoped effect. Alright guys, so this next effect is a really cool one, and this is going to be the Chronozoom Roto effect. So what we want to do is, just like before, hold Option and drag upwards, and the reason we duplicate the clip is so we have a background and we don't just have, a black background. Then we're gonna go over to the effects and go to where you want this effect to start. I want this to start around here, just kind of like before. So press Command B to split those clips. Then go to the plugin, the mRotoAI, add this onto your clip. Go to the beginning, and I'm going to select this here using the automatic selection brush. So just paint over the area that you want to select. It should be smart enough to select just the sunglasses. You can see that it didn't do a very good job over here. So hold Option on the keyboard, click and drag to deselect the areas that you don't want. And I'm holding Option to get rid of that. And then kind of doing my best here to get this to line up. Sometimes it might be easier to even start at the end instead. So go to the end and just reset this, or use the brush tool again and paint over the areas that you want to select. And then once you're happy, go to the tracker, and then we're going to be tracking backwards because all of this has not been tracked. So press the track backwards button and it's going to track backwards. We're going to let that finish. So we're going to go over to the inspector tab. We're going to go to the output and change that to masked video. So now once we have that, you can see that it's just the sunglasses. It looks pretty cool. So what we want to do is go over to the transform tool, add a keyframe, and play it through. I want it to be about 15 frames, and then I'm going to scale this up. Not too much actually, because I only want to duplicate this like one more time after this. So something like this is good. I'm going to click on done. So it's going to go like that. Okay, it's going to play through. And now around here is where I want it to go back. So go to the transform again, add a keyframe, and then go to the end and just move the playhead one frame to the left so you can see your video. Then under the transform settings in the inspector tab, next to X, type in 0 for Y, and 100 for scale all. This resets everything to the original video. So now if I go back and push play, it's going to look just like this. And again, we can always change the speed of the keyframe if you right click and go to show video animation, and you bring these inwards to make them go faster. So you don't have to do any keyframing all over again. Then what you're going to do is hold option again and drag upwards to duplicate the same clip. Right click on the video, go to show video animation. This second keyframe here, make sure you select it. We're going to go over to transform and we're going to move this outwards. So kind of like that. And we're going to increase the scale. So it kind of looks like this. So it gets progressively bigger. So what we're going to do is on this first keyframe, because we made it bigger than the second keyframe or the third keyframe, we're going to copy the scale, which is 156. And we're going to type that same number on this one. So type in 156, or copy the X and the Y. So 437.3. And then this one is at -62 for Y. So type in -62, press enter. So now it should not change the position or the scale during these two keyframes. So if I go back and I push play, it's going to look just like that. Alright guys, so this next effect is going to be the masked Rototrails effect. What you want to do is just like before, hold option, duplicate the clip, go over to the effects, go to the mRoto, add that onto the clip. Again, you don't have to use the mRoto plugin. You can do it manually if you want to. Like I said, it does make it easier using the plugin. So I wanted to start at the very beginning this time, and I'm going to drag over our subject, which is going to be the girl on the left here. So I think this is fine. So I'm going to go over to the tracker and I'm going to track forwards because we have the playhead at the beginning. And this is the finished result. Again, the window didn't show up this time because of my screen recording program. So over here, you're going to see it selected a little bit of the other girl. So hold option and paint over the area that you don't want. So again, here we don't want her in the part of the selection. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to go over to the effects and we're going to change this to masked video. We're going to duplicate the clip again. We're going to select the middle clip, go over to the effects, distortion, go to the bottom and go to underwater. We add that onto the video. And now we're going to change the underwater effect. We're going to make this bigger or smaller. We're going to make this smaller so it starts to show kind of like this. So the refraction is how distorted the overall image is going to look. So I'm going to go something like this. Now if I go back and push play, looks just like that. And we go over to the effects again and go to blur, and we can add a Gaussian blur onto this to make it softer and just decrease the amount, and you have a nice soft kind of Rototrail underwater effect. So let's move on to the next effect. Alright guys, so the next effect is the blur roto reveal transition. Okay, so here is what we have. So we have 3 different clips. We want to use this one as our transition clip. So hold option and duplicate the clip. Just option, drag upwards, go to the effects, go down, add the mRoto plugin onto that clip. We're going to start at the beginning, paint over your subject, kind of like this. So once we have that, we're going to see that it looks like this. With this clip here, we can bring this in like we're trimming it inwards at the beginning so that this kind of overlays the clip on the left. So it creates a transition like that. Now at the beginning of this clip, we're going to go over to transform. We're going to move this out of the frame, zoom out if you need to. I think right here is fine. I might want to rotate this, make it a little bit more dynamic. Start it over here. add a keyframe, go to the end. Once it shows here, we're just going to go to the X, type in 0 for X and Y, 0 for rotation, and 100 for scale all. Then if I go back and push play, send a command, it comes in really fast because there's only like 5 frames. But if your video is longer, it's going to look a lot smoother. Then we're going to go over to the effects, go to blur, add a directional blur, and then go to the beginning. I'm actually going to go about here so I can see them. And I'm going to zoom out to 50, and I'm going to increase the amount. And I'm going to add a keyframe. Once it stops, which is here, I'm just going to type in 0 and press enter. Now it's going to look smoother of an effect. And let's move on to the next effect. This is probably the easiest effect out of all of them. If I push play, it's just a Rotobox closing effect. So you're going to have this clip in the timeline, hold Option and drag upwards, go to the effects, add the mRoto, and we're going to start at the beginning, or maybe not at the beginning, maybe around here. Press Command B, so press Command B there to split the clip, and then we're going to use the mRoto to paint over our subject. I'm going to move this at the beginning, so we're just paint it like that. Try to get it as close as you can. Perfect. I'm going to now track forwards. And here's our window that you guys didn't see previously because of the way that my recording application recorded the screen. I'm then going to change it to master video. And I'm going to select the back clip, the background clip, and go over to the effects. Then you're going to search for an effect called letterbox. And this is all included in Final Cut Pro, by the way. It's for free. At the beginning of where we created our masked out effects, or the roto. So we're going to change the aspect ratio to 185 so we don't see it. This does depend on your project settings as well, but if you have a 16:9 1080p video or 4K like standard aspect ratio, you can just select 185 and it should not show the letterboxing. Then you want to add a keyframe next to border size, and then we kind of want it to go in about here and increase the border size all the way to 10. So now if I go back and push play, it's going to look like that. And around here, we can add another keyframe, go to the end, go 1 frame to the left, and bring the border size to 0. So now it's going to kind of go in and come out. And if you guys are enjoying this video, by the way, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and turning on the bell notification so you don't miss out on videos like this. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so here's another really cool Skydrop Roto effect. Alright, so we have 2 clips in the timeline. We have the first one here, and then we have our second clip. So what we're going to do is go where we want to pretty much create the roto. So I don't want to use this part of the clip, actually. I only want this bit. And what we're going to do is just duplicate it again, just like how we did it before. And we're going to add the mRotoAI plugin effect onto the clip. We're going to start at the beginning. I'm going to select, just paint over it with the brush. And then we're going to track forwards. So press the track forwards button. It's going to do its best to track 27 frames. There you go. It did a really good job of tracking it this time. A little bit of his hair was kind of cut off. You can just paint it back in. So now we're going to change this to masked video for output. And we're going to create this effect first. So it's going to play through. And then right around here, I'm going to go to the transform and add a keyframe. I don't know. I'm going to go to the end actually. And I'm going to kind of rotate this and move it down to, I'm going to go to 50%. I'm going to drag this down like that. So now if I go back, it's going to just drop. And now what I want to do is go to the effects and go to blur. And I'm going to add a directional blur onto this. So just before it moves down, we're going to add a keyframe at 0 for amount under directional blur. Skip a couple frames, 3 frames is fine. And then increase the amount and change the direction so that it's downwards like that. So now it's going to look like this. It just makes it look a lot more smoother. Right around here, we're going to go to transform for the bottom clip, which is this one. Go to transform, add a keyframe, and we're going to do the same thing, except we're not going to be rotoscoping the background. So with this one, at this location, we're going to skip a couple frames. I want this to come in a little faster. So right here, I'm going to drag this to the left, and I'm going to rotate it this way. So now it's going to look kind of like this. And again, you can adjust the keyframing with the video animation tab there. And then just add a directional blur onto the background as well. Okay, so again, make sure we don't add a blur to the whole clip. So right just before it moves, add a keyframe for amount at 0. Skip a couple frames and increase it quite a bit. And it should look like this. If you don't want a harsh line like this, just copy, press Command C on the clip here and delete the effect. Then we're going to make the background clip a grouped clip. It's weird how Final Cut Pro does it, but just do it this way. And then we're going to name this BG for background. And then we're going to press Shift Command V to paste the blur, and now you can see that this doesn't have a harsh edge of a line, which is not what we want. And you can now see that we have this there, and you can see the little artifact, but you can fix it later. So now it looks like this, and all you gotta do is just drag the following clip beneath it, and you have this really cool effect. And again, if this is coming in way too fast, you can slow it down before you group it. You just double click to enter the grouped clip and then expand this out so it's slower. That's a little too slow, maybe. And it looks just like that. Let's move on to the next one. So this is a very simple one, and it's going to be selective roto effect. So this allows you to create a selective color or a color pop effect just by pretty much rotoscoping our subject out from the background and making the background black and white or whatever you want to do with the background. So for this to work, what you want to do is have your clip in the timeline, which looks like this. Duplicate it, so hold Option, drag upwards, and add the plugin again onto the clip. Start it at the beginning, make your selection of your artist or subject, and we're going to check forwards. And you're going to see it's going to do a pretty good job of selecting him. You can go back and manually paint him back in if he is not selected perfectly, but it doesn't have to be completely perfect. We're then going to change the output to masked video and then select the background video and go over to the effects. And we're going to search for an effect called black and white. And this just pretty much makes our image, our video black and white, and you're pretty much finished. So now we have this black and white effect, and only our subject is in color. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so this one is the Sceneblend Roto effect, and this is a really simple and kind of interesting one. So you can actually use two rotoscoped objects and kind of blend them in together and make a really cool kind of collage type of a effect. But what you're going to do is just do the same exact thing, adding in the effects from the mRoto here and dragging it onto this clip. You're then going to rotoscope him out. Of course, you're going to make sure you duplicate that clip, which is going to be this, this one here. So this is our rotoscoped effect. Let me show you. So he's been rotoscoped out. If I go over to merged, I pretty much just selected him and rotoscoped him out, and I changed this to masked video. Now I placed him at the top, and then I selected another portion of this music video entirely different from another scene, which looks like this, as you can see. And I just selected him, and I rotoscoped him out, and I changed it to masked video, and I placed him underneath our top clip, which is this rotoscoped clip, and it just looks really cool. You can create a cool collage with this one, so you can just change the order of the layers. So if I were to drag this one underneath, now he's on top, as you can see. So it's on top of that one. So let's move on to the next one. So here is another really awesome one, and this is a thermal glow roto effect. So very similar to the selective color effect, rotoscope effect, except this one we're creating a thermal-like effect and throwing in some flash transitions. What we're going to do is just literally cut out the area that you want to rotoscope, which is right here, and you're going to add that mRotoAI plugin. Go to the beginning or anywhere in your timeline and just make your selection of your subject. It just finished tracking, so you can see it did a really good job. We're going to change this to video, and we're going to duplicate this clip now and change it to masked video. Then we're going to go over to the effects. Okay, and this is really important. With this clip, we're going to increase the scale just a little bit to like 103 or 4. And we're going to change the blend mode to difference. Duplicate this clip again. Then you're going to select the top clip and change the blend mode from difference to overlay. And we're going to change the color to a different one. So I'm going to change this to red, saturation, and the exposure. We're going to bring this quite a bit up. You might want to change the blend mode to a different one. I think linear light looks really good. So I'm going to go back to the top clip here and maybe play around with this color and maybe make this one like yellow or something. And then from there, we can go over to color. If we add the colorize option onto this one, you can change the darks to a different color. So you can do like red maybe. And then the whites, we can change that to a different color. You can do something like that. And then if you wanted to not just come in like that, just go over to transform and go to lights and add a flash and add that to the bottom clip and then decrease the length of that one and just do the same thing here. So now if we go back and we push play, it's going to flash just like that. Super cool, something different that you can apply to your rotoscoped masked clip. It's going to be the Scribble Leader Roto effect, and we're going to be using the Scribble film leaders from my editing pack, which is down in the description. You can also go to kingtutspro.com to check out my editing packs and my editing assets of overlays, LUTs, transitions, textures, sound effects, merch as well, if you guys want to check those out. But most importantly, these really cool Scribble film leaders, they're just drag and drop. There's no need to install these whatsoever. So what you do is very simple. You're just going to pretty much duplicate your clips, hold Option, and you're just going to add the mRoto first to rotoscope your subject out of your clip. So we just do something like this, rotoscope your subject out of it, track forwards, and we're going to place our mask clip, which should be this one here. As you can see, if we go to mask only or merged, we masked her out and we placed her above our Scribble film leaders, which are just transparent video clips that you guys can check out in the description. I also have a free sample pack if you want to try them out before you decide on getting them. And you just place that in between the background clip and your masked clip to create this super cool kind of Scribble film leader effect. So again, you can check those out. It's very simple. You just click and drag. So let me show you. You just click and drag this right underneath, and that's all you got to do, literally. So if you guys found this video helpful whatsoever, if you guys can consider leaving a like, subscribing, and commenting down below if you have any video ideas, or if you guys just found this video helpful, be sure to share it. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys next time.